Greatness is supposed to be undeniable, until it isn't. 7 rings, decades of dominance, a dynasty that reshaped the league, and somehow, that still wasn't enough. When the news broke, it wasn't analysts who reacted first. It was the legends, the players who lived it, the coaches who battled it, the ones who know what excellence really costs, and they weren't confused, they were angry. This is what NFL legends had to say about the Bill Belichick snub.
I don't understand it. I mean, I was with him every day. If he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, there's really no coach that should ever be a first ballot Hall of Famer, which is completely ridiculous because people deserve it. And he's incredible. There's no coach I'd ever want to play for. I'd rather play for. If I'm picking one coach to go out there to win a Super Bowl, give me one season, I'm taking Bill Belichick. So that's enough said.
Look, this isn't complicated. If you know the game, you know what greatness looks like. And when something this obvious gets ignored, people notice.
That was a disgrace what happened to Bill Belichick, first and foremost. And let me tell you something else, Dan. You know, the writer who wrote why he didn't vote for Belichick, that made it even worse in my opinion, because he said, well, I'm going to vote for these older guys to get them in, because this might be their last chance. Well, I believe this. If you haven't made the Hall of Fame in X amount of time, you're just in the Hall of pretty good. If you don't, like I say, it's either yes or no. I think Dion said it a few years ago, and I agree with, like, if you have to really think about guys who've been on these committees for double-digit years and they finally get in, I'm like, I don't mean no disrespect to you guys. You were really, really good. You just wasn't a Hall of Famer. I mean, it's a very simple process in my opinion. But Bill should be automatically, because now, do you put Tom Coughlin in? You put Mike Tomlin in? You put Harbaugh in? They only won 1 Super Bowl. A guy who's won 6 and been to 9, if he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, that's where the problem arises. Now you can't let any of those guys in. And like Mike Tomlin is a Hall of Famer, but you can't put him on the first ballot now. Same thing with my good friend Sean Payton, who I love and respect. Like, wait, you didn't put a guy who won 6, who been to 9? That's crazy.
It's mind-boggling. It really is. And this thing is pervasive. It means it's going everywhere. There's this thing where the people that are making certain decisions or casting certain votes want their decisions to be more important than what's done on the field and everything. You know, the rules and the bylaws, I knew this from my time getting ready to go into the Hall of Fame. You know, '05 was the first time I was up, and the rules and the bylaws were about only what happened on the football field. That's all they're supposed to measure things by. Okay. So even when I got in, it kept telling me, well, the first year was Troy and Steve Young, and I didn't get in. You know, they said, well, they're going to keep you out because of the White House. You will keep me out because of the White House. That ain't what the rule says. You know what I'm saying? The rule says only to take into account what happened on the football field. So you know, I've had some run-ins with this. This is why T.O. also did not go to the Hall of Fame. T.O. certainly should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. You know, Art Monk, at the time he retired, first ballot Hall of Famer should have been. They made him wait years and years. And I mean, he was leading in almost every category in his position, catches and yards and everything. If anybody ever deserved a shot or a spot in the Hall of Fame, in the whole existence of the National Football League, it's Bill Belichick.
This isn't about liking someone. It's about respecting the work. And when respect gets delayed, the conversation changes.
This is personal. There is a personal, I don't know what is going on in there, but I'm just speaking up for my fellow brothers, the Hall of Famers. Anybody that played for him, against him, and those who have coached, no. So we do not approve that message. I'm being a spokesperson for the Hall of Fame. Don't put that on the players. Hey, man, we don't approve this message. And I think it's a huge black eye. for the Hall of Fame, because this thing was built, the Hall of Fame, for the greatest, the greatest athletes, contributors, coaches, whoever played the game. And he is the epitome of that. He is the greatest coach with the most accomplishments, period, in NFL history. And when you don't put him in on the first go around, what is that saying about the Hall of Fame? And I'm a proud member. Yeah. But I can't wear that jacket comfortably when Bill Belichick isn't in. He should be in. I mean, it's a different tier, man. Yeah. And I know I'm going on, but this is a different tier when you're talking about even within the Hall of Fame. He is here. So what you're telling me right now, there is no such thing, and it can't happen. Even though I know it's going to happen, but you cannot have a first ballot coach in the history of the Hall of Fame anymore.
Let's talk about this Bill Belichick thing for
Yes.
I mean, I know how you feel about it.
Yes.
You made no secret that you think he should have obviously been a first ballot Hall of Famer. Why do you think they kept him out? What do you think was behind it? Or have you heard something?
Actually, I didn't really hear anything. I've seen, some quotes out there. I'm not sure what's truly accurate. I mean, but in the end, obviously, there had to be some voters that have some ill will against Coach Bill Belichick for whatever reason, but that should be, overlooked. It's all about resume, and Coach Belichick has the resume. I mean, 8 Super Bowls, 2 as defensive coordinator with the New York Giants, 6 Super Bowls, obviously, 3 in the first decade that he was with the Patriots, and 3 in the second decade of the dynasty with the Patriots. I mean, this guy has the resume, and on top of it, how many lives he has touched and how many opportunities he has given to former players and coaches as well. I mean, Coach Belichick 100% deserved to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's clearly going to get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but he was definitely snubbed over the last couple days.
Have you talked to him about it?
I have not.
Coach, and a lot of folks have said it was Spygate, Deflategate, that probably kept him out.
No, that's crap. I mean,
I agree.
The guy has the best resume of all coaches other than Don Shula. And even some of his is better than that.
Yeah.
I mean, this just floored me when this came out. And if Bill Belichick's not a first ballot, I don't know who is.
Great way. Hey, he said it perfectly.
From a guy who coached against him many a time.
Many times.
I think it's absolutely ridiculous. You can like him or you can dislike him. That's up to you. That's your choice. But you can't deny his track record, and it's a good one. It's a very good one. A heck of a football coach. Maybe he's not the most personable guy. I don't know. I don't know him that well, but I think it's absolutely ridiculous.
Do you think that there's reporting that it was Spygate and Deflategate, but you have to wonder, since it's a bunch of journalists making this decision, if they weren't all just really annoyed with him after years and years of being treated pretty disdainfully in these post-game press conferences?
Yeah, Elizabeth, I think, yeah, I think. You
think it was personal?
I think it was, and that's not. If there was a way to do this, where you take the human element out of it, I wish we would figure out a way to do that. I don't know if that's possible, but you can't not vote for someone because they didn't give you an interview or they were a jerk in an interview. I mean, it's ridiculous.
No, there, like you just said, there are literally like 2-3 people in history that are absolute no-brainer locks whatsoever, Bill and Tom being 2 of those. And I saw something where one of the voters was like, why should the votes be released? What are you going to do? Because you shouldn't have a vote. If you have Bill Belichick not making the NFL, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, you should not have a vote for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The guy has 8 Super Bowl titles. There's only been 59 of them. He's got 8 rings from 59. Like, what are you doing? What qualifications do you want? How do you tell the story of the NFL without Bill Belichick? Yeah, if you didn't have him on your ballot, and I get this whole like, well, there was 3 spots and you can only put, like, I don't care. If there's only 3 spots, Bill Belichick is spot number 1. Point blank, period. You figure out who fits in the other 2. No other matter should happen. He is in the Hall of Fame, first ballot, no matter what. The guy beat me left, right, and center multiple times. I should have every reason to hate him. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer without question.
You can argue personality, you can argue style, but when the resume speaks this loudly, silence isn't an option. That's why this struck a nerve.
Well, first of all, I think this tarnishes everything in the Hall of Fame. All of the inductees, everybody in the Hall of Fame, just because of 10 or 11 or 12 ignorant, jealous assholes who did not vote for him. I think it tarnishes everything about the Hall of Fame. As far as if they're using the excuse of the Spygate, before they had the electronic communication between the sideline and the players, everybody was trying to steal signals. A lot of people would not admit to it, but every team had an individual trying to get the signals or doing one thing or another. And then one of the scouts for the Kansas City Chiefs talked to us. They said, hey, we've got the system. Howard Mudd is the best at doing it. They had a camera and they would film the opponent's signal caller and match it up with the film, and then they would get their signals. And we noticed, we watched the Kansas City huddle, the offensive guard would look to the sideline and Howard would go ahead and give them a signal, whether or not it was, man coverage or zone coverage, et cetera, et cetera. Now, Howard Mudd left Kansas City. He left and actually went and worked for Bill Polian and Tony Dungy. Now, I'm not accusing them of doing it, but there were a lot of teams doing it back then before they put the electronic communication from sideline to the quarterback and the linebackers. And so if they're using that excuse to not put Bill Belichick in the Hall of Fame, it is absolutely ridiculous. I love football. Now that I've retired from Fox, I've got 4 TVs set up. I've got 12 hours on Saturday, 12 hours on Sunday. No one comes in the room. I only leave the room to get a little bit of food. I love football, and I appreciate, greatness. And that's what you had with Bill Belichick, greatness. I'm a coach, and if some of the players don't get in, it doesn't bother me that much if a player doesn't get in. But for a great football coach not to get in first ballot, that was wrong.
I mean, just as you led in with this, I like you. I hated the Patriots too. But you have to give respect when respect is due, and as well as credit. This guy owns pretty much every record that you can name of as a head coach. Again, this is on the writers. This is a travesty. It's the most ridiculous thing. I think whoever, Jim Porter, I know he doesn't have a hand in making sure that the right people get voted in and nominated, but this is totally on the writers, and this should have never happened. With Bill, I actually texted Bill today, and I kind of felt like the reporters in a sense. I asked him I wanted to get his take on what happened, and just like the media, he didn't give me what I wanted, but he asked me to, he thanked me for his support that everybody has given him. But again, this is pretty much a personal thing with the writers. If you don't give them what they want, then if you're up for such a prestigious award such as the Hall of Fame, which you're acknowledged for the greatness in which you carry your career out, this is the result that you're going to get. If they don't like you, you're not going to get in. It happened to me in 2016, and it took me 3 times when I was 2nd, 3rd, 4th all time with the number of records.
Greatness doesn't ask for permission. It earns recognition. And when that recognition gets delayed, the reaction is never quiet.
And then you hear all the reasons why this possibly could have happened. People are talking about Deflategate or Spygate, whether he treated the media in the way that says he should be in. And I say bullcrap to all of that, because the bottom line is, what did you do on the field? What did you do in between the lines? What did you do inside the building? What did you do in the most important moments? And everybody knows there was no one as good as Bill Belichick. There's no one that's left a legacy on the game the way Bill Belichick has. The reason that there are so many players from the New England Patriots teams that are in the Hall of Fame right now is because of Bill Belichick, whether it's Ty Law, Richard Seymour, Rodney Harrison should be. Obviously, Tom Brady is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. The walls of the Hall of Fame are now shallower and more hollow than they have ever been because Bill Belichick didn't get what he rightfully earned and deserved, which was being a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Bill Belichick?
No.
He's on the, okay, wait a minute. Let me tell you how weird that is. So they did an NFL 100 team. Bill was on it, but he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Like, that's nuts. How do you feel about
do you
this, Skip?
feel?
'Cause I know.
Man, come on. Skip may not like have him as the best ever, but you can't deny he's a first ballot coach.
He would be in the Hall of Fame. He'd be in my Hall of Fame. But he was a somewhat overrated product of Tom Brady.
Even the first 3 chips that he won, that was all Tom Brady?
Well, the second one was Tom Brady.
It was rare
The
Tom went
MVP
to the
against
Super Bowl
Carolina.
without a top 10 defense. But they went against the greatest show on turf.
They did that.
And they didn't play well.
Okay, I give you that one. That was good. And against the Rams, it was good, 13-3.
Like,
okay.
man,
all right, but if you look hard at his record without Brady,
that's
okay,
like.
All right, but then once Brady left and went down to Tampa and won a chip, it made Bill look really bad. And then if you look at Bill over the last 4 years, they made the playoffs one time and went to Josh Allen and got that. But Josh Allen
Tom
never
left,
punted.
Gronk left,
Okay.
Edelman's gone, Mayo gone. Everybody's gone.
Okay, but Josh put 37 on him and never punted against Bill Belichick's defense.
Because he got a little baby team.
Bill
he had to
Belichick
rebuild
is
everybody
not a
gone
first
type
ballot
team.
Hall of
Like it don't matter. It don't matter. If we talking about Sam Darnold, is we even having a conversation if he top 10, then Bill is like -5
of the world where Bill Belichick is not a first ballot Hall of Man.
Talk about recency bias.
History doesn't move on ballots, it moves on impact. Decisions get debated, legacies don't. When the noise fades, what remains is the standard that was set. And whether acknowledged now or later, some greatness was never in question.